Hey, bro,
Yeah.
you do what you need to do. I'm here for you. Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quest Unplayed, where the three of us just talk about video games, and we usually have a guest.
Vidima Games?
Yes, and just talk about video games. I'm your
Mhm.
host, George, and today's quest is joined by Anthony
Hello, everyone.
and Zach,
Hi, I'm Zach.
and we have another guest, Kendall.
Kendall.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So I guess before we begin, today's podcast is sponsored by Minimap. You all know Minimap is your ultimate gaming hub where you can review, connect, and track all the games that you've played. And we actually have a store too. So just come out here and check out cool people like Anthony and Zach and maybe
Whoop,
Kendall.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Myself. And we have the sponsor video. No. All your games in one place. You can see Zach dancing for watching the video of it. Zach,
How do you not dance to this? PlayStation, Steam.
But it definitely
Monster.
does need to be updated for sure.
oh yeah,
What? Sure, bro. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Well, I mean, update with we're out of games because we got Elden Ring in it from 2022 still.
Oh, yep, 100%.
Yeah, but on Minimap, you can rate a game no matter how old it is.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
So if you don't get to that game until 2069 because it's way in your backlog, and then someone's like, "Holy shit, you're still playing that game?" You're like, "Yeah, my name is Anthony, and I'm still playing it."
If we could find the number of games on my list.
I'm sure.
Anthony, I haven't checked Anthony's library yet, but it probably has like
No.
1,000 games.
I have.
Playing
I've
games.
checked his library.
I'm about to buy some more games because of the Steam Spring sale.
He's about to buy more, Dad. Listen, Dad, get that credit card out. He's popping it.
Your game is on sale. The game
What
you
game?
like to play.
What?
The driving one.
Keep driving.
Keep
I
driving.
already bought that though.
I know, but it's on sale. I'm saying on Steam.
It's
Like
got to be
$9.
cheap now. What is it? What is it now?
$9 or something.
Yeah, that's worth it, dude. Get it.
What?
Get it.
Not
Get
a
it.
bad idea,
Yeah,
not a bad idea.
get it. Do it.
There's
Do
a
it.
lot of indie games on sale right now. It's so
But-
many. It's
Yeah,
even worse than
because,
Steam Express.
Do it.
it's Steam Spring sales right now, right?
They
Yeah,
got to
it's
clean
like-
up. It's spring cleaning. They got to get rid of the old to get the new. Bring it in. Bring it in.
Yeah.
I did hear something really. I did see something really interesting about an article about.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You saw something interesting?
Yeah, about an article. Hold on. Let me find it.
Kendall, did you see anything interesting?
In terms of games that I've been following for a while, I've seen a lot of the demos that came out in the last Next Fest start to get a lot of updates from that feedback, and I've been putting a lot of time into that. Both
okay.
because I know a lot of those guys, but also because there's so much potential. Like this last Next Fest was pretty insane. And you're seeing more and more of those like kind of smaller games that people are starting to learn more from. Games that maybe had a Kickstarter a long time ago and now are starting to bake, and you're seeing all these things coming out. Plus, you have the crazy, Slay the Spire 2. We were talking about this a couple minutes ago, where I think a lot of people are starting to, kind of start to play like 2 or 3 or 4 people as friends in a game that is not necessarily like League of Legends or Dota or whatnot. I think like that. It's not really a couch, of course, but that digital couch, we'll call it. It's starting to feel kind of special. I really like what that's doing too. So at least
like
my
that.
community, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's something that I don't think it's never been done before, of course, but it gives you this feeling of you're connecting with people that you normally don't play in this way. It's us against the game. It's something pretty that I think I hope we see a lot more of. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that with our friends for sure.
Is that a term you came up with, or is that a new term, like digital couch? I kind of like that.
I'm pretty sure somebody has thought about it before. I use a lot of digital beer whenever I'm saying let's have a meeting, because meetings kind of suck. So
Right.
so I use digital something for everything. So yeah, digital couch feels like something appropriate for, say, the Spire. I'm sure there's other games doing something similar, but something this prominent. And so we're taking, like, whenever you're voting for relics, like you have to pick, and then if you don't, you've seen it. If you play multiplayer and there's 2 relics, so there's 2 people playing, and you both want the same relic, the characters do like rock, paper, scissors, which is kind of insane, to think like.
Oh yeah, no, I did that, and I didn't know how to like choose my thing, and my friend totally like yoinked it from me. I was like, hey, how do I do the rock, paper, scissors? And he did the paper, and I was like, wait, what? Oh man, I was like so bummed.
Yeah. I think it happens automatically. I haven't played enough multiplayer to know, but having a good time with it for sure. It feels
it's
great.
Pretty fun. Yeah, it's a pretty fun game. Like I said, I'm addicted to it, and I just bought it, so now it's like one of those things where I'm like,
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think Anthony was. What's the article?
Did he finally find it?
The interesting article.
So Steam experts says that indie games reaching about $150,000 in sales and 500 reviews in the first 6 months become the special golden geese that catches Gabe Newell's attention.
Okay.
I saw this. I have a lot of opinions about it, but I think it's.
I know. I saw that too. I'm like, what? Interesting.
Who?
It's calling the golden geese.
When you're thinking about $150,000, you have to think, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this a million times, but in order for you to get there, you need to have enough wish lists coming into your release. Like you convert 10 to 20% of your wish list as a normal number. So you're going into that. So whatever number you go and convert, then you multiply that by whatever you can get. And like, if you make it to new and trending, and then from there you make it into the top charts. And if you make it to charts, you get enough exposure that you can maybe do that. But that also has a lot to do with the price of the game and whatnot. It's really difficult to do that. But I believe it's harder to get the reviews than it is to get the money. You can't. I mean, of course, it's difficult for everybody to make that amount quickly, but over decent games that have higher production value will do that over 3 to 6 months. I don't think it's impossible. It's still very rare, but the reviews are incredibly difficult, especially if you've done some crowdfunding campaign or something like that. Your reviews don't count because those people got the key for free. Right. And it's actually, I think it's much harder to get the reviews than it is to get the money. But there's like over 100,000 games being released on Steam, or at least exist in the catalog. How many are released in a year is much less than that, but still is very difficult to get anywhere near that top percentage for sure. All to impress, Gabe. I don't know. That's the goal for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's almost impossible. It's like the top 1% of the people will probably get that amount of games sold.
It's the review is the hardest because not a lot of people like to review stuff also on Steam, and especially if you get the key for free as a reviewer, it doesn't count as well. So that's true.
Yeah.
100%.
It's the way I see it is that there's a lot of. So there's a term that we use when we look at products. It's called, simple. It's called friction. So it's not difficulty. It can be very easy to leave a review, but there's an amount of friction that has to do with people have to leave the game. I mean, they might have like 3 hours tonight to play. They want to play the game. They don't want to stop to think about what they're going to say. And then they feel observed by other people, and then people can vote on what you said. And they put little clown emotes or whatever. It's difficult. It's a lot of friction is the word I would use to say for someone to leave a review. So when somebody leaves a good review, it's something that people, of course, cherish. But most of the reviews would come from the vocal minority, and it's explosive. If you have 50 people that really don't like your game, the chances are that the next 50 will be, you know, a big percentage of that would be people that agree with that sentiment. But it's not because the average person hates your game. It's because whenever people go and see the reviews, they look at the other reviews before they put theirs for whatever reason. It's a very big challenge. So you want to bring in as many people before you release your game that already you know that they're going to do a review on your game and they're going to love it. If you can do that, but you also, it's against the rules to like garner or like ask for reviews or all that stuff. So you have to be really thoughtful of how you do this in a creative way that, you know, that lets you get there. But yeah, reviews are a big deal for sure.
Yeah, like if you think about, like, for example, I use my phone a lot and I have a lot of apps. But if you think about the number of actual reviews that I write for these apps, it's probably like less than 1% of the, like, even if I, like, you know, for example, I use like Discord and YouTube every single day, but I would never leave a review for these apps. I think it would be a little bit similar, not the same, but like for games too, like, you know, you're there to play. You're not there to kind of like think about what you want to say or to talk about it. You're rather like consuming your time into the game itself. So
exactly, which is very fair, very
exactly.
fair.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
to the supporter, to the person that supports your game, and I can say this like with high confidence, it is the best thing you could do for a game that you love, right? So I wish I had your names here on the screen because I can't memorize them. But like this guy that's right by me on the left, like, you know, Zach, you love Zach, right? There's a couple of games we were talking about the show that you really like, right? Those like the fact that you've played a demo for hours, that is like a testament to that dev being able to like deeply engage you, right? I'm sure that out of the last 100, I mean, maybe if you play a lot of indie games, you're having a lot of fun. We do a good job, I think. But I don't know, the last 100, maybe you had a lot of fun with the last 10, right? That review is sometimes life-changing. And I know it sounds very dramatic, but if you don't have 10 reviews, you don't have a score. And then if you don't cross into more reviews, you cannot get to overwhelmingly positive. You cannot get to very positive. Those are, you cannot get 10 reviews that are all good, and then it will give you overwhelming. It's going to say positive. And a lot of people don't look at the count of the reviews. They just say, oh, positive, this is garbage, and they move on, right? So sometimes your one review might put a game over 90%, and you really think, oh, it's not a big deal. Literally 200 reviews is a crap ton. I don't know if I can swear here, so I'm controlling myself, but it's a crap ton.
It's a shit ton.
It's a shit ton, right? So I always tell people, if you can, leave a review, but don't put so much energy into it that it takes away from you going back to playing the game, because it matters a lot how people perceive your review. And I do get a lot of people. I mean, we are very lucky right now. We have over 94,000 wish lists as of today, which is an insane amount. It's just unbelievable.
Nice.
And then you get like all these YouTube comments on our videos and whatnot, and mostly everyone is like, you know, very, very supportive, right? But what happens is when people leave like incredibly supportive reviews, mostly never do they tell you why they really love it, or they don't almost ever tell you what you could do better. So then let's say you get like 200 reviews and 198 are great. You probably learn nothing at this point. You just know that people really like your game, but you don't know what made your game special unless you go and study that and ask people and get really personal. So that's what I mean. It's good to, if you really want to support a game, the best thing you could do is leave a review. Of course, buy the game, of course, but leave a review and just be really critically honest and direct. Guys, you guys rock. This is awesome. You know what I really like? This feature, this feature, this feature. You're done. 4 sentences. But it'll make other people that read that review get a really good idea of what the game's about and what you like it. And I think that was what makes games explode. So yeah, just a little bit of knowledge that I just got very recently from friends that are in the industry, that I thought, you know, people would just read reviews and it's always good. It really depends. If people read them, which not a lot of people do, but the people that do read them, there's a lot of instant bias that they get from what they read. So yeah, it's a interesting culture for sure.
I for that demo, because I liked it so much, and I like to do that because my channel, my regular channel, that just my normal ones, just for indie games. I literally did a how much I love the demo. I did like a game review of it, like a raw one, and then reached out to the dev and asked him for a Q&A, and he gave it to me. So there's 2 videos. One thing that a lot of content creators miss on is when they do reviews is you can put the video in Steam, say, hey, I really like this game, and if you want to see why, click on this video. And they miss out on that because sometimes people go to YouTube and they'll get a better like actual scene of why you actually liked it and see that you played it. You know what I mean? Not that you're just like some guy like, it was pretty cool. I liked it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's true. Really cool. People do share their links to like stuff.
And I put it on Minimap.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That's pretty cool.
No, but I really do. Yeah, no, I do. So I 100% get it, but I think that's like when you get into an indie game, especially like there's some indie games that are super hyped already. You know what I mean? Like everybody's waiting for them. They're like, oh God, this is coming out. I'm so excited. But there's those games that you find, you're like, oh my God, this is fun. Like other people should play this. Like I feel like it's 100%. You got to tell somebody, like, dude, play this game. And George's like, I don't feel like it. Like, well, don't play it. And he's like, leave me alone, Zach. But you know, you got to like try to shake him into it. Like, just do it. He's like, I'm busy. You know what I mean? So, but no, you're right. But a lot of people miss on that. Like you can put the video right into Steam, and then people get a lot more out of being able to see the video and check it out. So also any indie gamers, developers, if you want me to do your thing, let me know. That's it, Mark.
Yeah.
Discoverability is a big thing. Like if the more that people are willing to like give indies a chance, I feel like that's where, I mean, and this is my super biased opinion, but right now I feel like indies are, the true innovation is happening at the indie space. Like that's where the wild, and it's mostly a discoverability thing, right? Because there's not a lot of Zachs, right? There's not a lot of people that are saying, give me your indie game, I'll do a video about it, or I'll get to show it to people. So what happens is marketing is crazy expensive. You guys are doing me this huge favor of like, we're having this podcast, but it's not normal. So because it's not normal, what
we don't like normal here.
Oh, that's cool.
We're not normal.
If you think about it, what an indie game would say is like, well, in order for me to get marketing because I can't afford it, then I need shock and awe. Like I need to be special, right? I need to be really bombastic and spectacular. And sometimes that goes really, really bad. Right? You know, people get into other themes. But when you're talking about the average, you see the most creative stuff happen because it is our way to make a game that people will recognize and connect with. So we're kind of, I call it like, we're kind of forced into innovation, which is a great thing, but it's mostly a survival instinct. It's not because indies are more creative than AAA or whatever. It's mostly we don't survive if we don't make something hyper unique. Yeah, it's great.
That's a very unique way to, like, I've never thought of that. Like I kind of thought the other way where like, oh, indies are unique. So that a lot of people are, a lot of the intention is going that way. But I guess in order for them to survive, they need to be unique and different from what the existing AAA studios are doing as a survival instinct. And then now that it's finally the time that people are recognizing these, tries and attempts to become unique and creative, try to be very fun and funny about a lot of these gaming elements. And now we're here. I think that's an interesting way of thinking.
Yeah,
it's now it's just how do you stand out against all the other indies? That's
but that's, you see, Zach, that's a good point. And I've only memorized your name, so I'm going to keep spamming it. But the thing the problem that I have with it is that in the indie culture, in terms of devs, we are teaching ourselves some bad habits, myself included, that we imagine sometimes that there's only so much air, and I need all this air. The truth is, and I do this all the time in social media, but I say, like, together we are mighty, and it's really not this like bullshit approach. Like there is not. I mean, I'll ask you. Sorry, the guy with the dragons. What's your name? I'm going to memorize.
Oh, George.
So George, how many games have you played in the last month? Be honest. Like if you played 1 or 20, or it doesn't matter.
Does demo count or?
Yeah, they count. Let's say whatever, 20.
Does demos count?
If demos count around 10, I would say around 10.
We know him. We know him.
10, right? So
That's
if
what I
I
was
make a
thinking.
game, if I make a game that is like 40 hours long, because that's like my pride and joy, it's my baby, and I want to make a game that you spend 40 hours on. That's a game that for the average person that goes to work in the United States, by the way, I'm using the United States statistics. I know the average person in the United States cannot afford a $400 emergency. They cannot afford it. That will put them in a big risk in terms of economics. If they're spending $20 on your game, they expect to get a lot out of it. But the truth is, they'll play those 40 hours over time. There's so many good games coming out. Mm-hmm. We think we are the most special thing in the world, but people that play our game and love it play 4 or 5 games in a month. So you cannot really think that you're going to hoard all these people and they're only going to play your game. So you need to play a game that is so engaging and so fun that when people are having a good time with your game, when they leave it, because they will, and that should be your goal, for them to move on to something else, they go to something and they're looking for, but they remember the gameplay loop of your game. They can recognize it in a picture. They remember you. And then when you make your next thing, you bring them back. So there's like a churn rate that is healthy. It's okay for people to play your game and move on. Of course, if you're making an MMO, then no, like, you want people to stay. But for most of us here in this call, I'm sure we play a lot of games, more than the average gamer that maybe plays 2 a month, 3 a month. But they're still making a huge sacrifice economically to buy your game. Even though it doesn't seem like it, $20 to $40 to $60 on your game, it's not nothing. It adds up very quickly for the average family. And if somebody's playing your game for 3 or 3 hours a night, you gotta love that. You gotta find a way to communicate to them that means a lot to you. If you could do that through your gameplay loop, once they're done with your game, this idea that, but there's this other indie doing something awesome, then I'm kind of falling behind. It doesn't exist. People will finish your game and go to theirs, and then they'll finish theirs and go to someone else's. So there's enough space for everybody. And it's not like a kumbaya thing. It's just the facts. Nobody's going to play your game for 10 years nonstop, right? Unless you're World of Warcraft or whatever. So you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah. If you think about it, like, for myself, I don't know about you guys, but like, I can't, even if I really, really enjoy a game, like, I can't play it for over like 4 or 5 hours straight anymore. That itself is like a big dedication for me and commitment, I think, because like, first of all, I don't have that many hours that I can spare. Usually when I have that many hours, that means like it's pretty late after my kid goes to sleep, which is like,
and you're tired
at 10 p.m. already, and I have to wake up at like 5 a.m. the next morning, or I don't know, like 6 or whatever. And if I'm playing your game for like 4 hours, that's a lot of commitment. And if I'm playing that many hours, that means I really, really like that game. I think it's probably an average hour or like behavior for a lot of the, dads or moms who have like younger kids, especially. If I'm like into my 20s, I don't give a fuck. Like, I can play all night and stuff. Like, I can play for like 8-10 hours straight. I don't care. Like, I don't have to wake up the next morning. But like, and a lot of these people who are buying the games are probably parents already. Not everyone, but like, a big proportion is probably parents of younger children who they're exhausted after like 10 p.m., 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Which goes to like a lot of design choices that indies make. That makes us. That's why I think like everything has a consequence, and once you think about it all together, everything starts making sense. So you see, like, you have indies that their gameplay loop is really, really fast. So 15 minutes into the game, you understand everything, and now it's about like difficulty increasing and complexity and roguelike elements. But it's not because it's also very difficult to make like you can't make a world-class MMO as an indie, like very difficult to do. You don't have the resources, so you have to make something smaller. But at the same time, you are speeding up the enjoyment factor. You're trying to get to that as quickly as possible. So your tutorials are simpler most of the time. The way you communicate with the player tends to be very honest and very direct. Like, so all those things bleed into indie games just doing really, really well with the average player. But the problem is that people also like eye candy, right? They like to see, like we were talking earlier, the water in Crimson Desert. Like we love that. So indies cannot easily give you that, right? It's very difficult. And if they're doing that, they're sacrificing other really important gameplay elements because we don't have infinite resources.
Right.
So it's not a bad thing, but it's okay for one indie game to focus on beauty and another one to focus on features and another one to focus on gameplay loop, because you're going to play all three of them, most likely, right? These games might last 5, 10, 15 hours at most. And that's great. It's like, a moment in time that you got to enjoy and you won't forget, and you move on to the next thing. If you can make something that people will play, like, a Clair Obscur, your AA Wander, then yes, people will remember you for a generation. But that doesn't have to be the goal with everything that you make. We have terms for that in my team. We say you can make a really good game, you can make a great game, or you can make a kingslayer. And we're trying to make a kingslayer. We don't know if we'll get there, right? But that's our goal, right? And for me, a king is like in your head, you have this imaginary thrones, that you have a bunch of different games. So you say, like, when I think about a sports game, this is the king. And when I think about a Metroidvania, this is the king. So I want to make something that can like take one of those spots in your core memories and say, this is a game I'll remember for a very long time. Doesn't mean it's your favorite, but it's a game that, whenever you think of a Metroidvania that looks like, Mega Man meets Blasphemous, you instantly think of Shape Protocol, and it brings that memory
exactly
of like, oh man.
I actually thought of that. I thought of that when I played the game. He actually showcased the game at the mix or the demo of it, like only the battle of it. I played it for like 5-10 minutes and instantly reminded me of Mega Man, which I was a huge fan of when I was young.
Mega Man's dope.
Yeah, I used to love those, like Zero and them. So
You know the OG was, right?
Which one? I don't remember.
The Naked Knight guy. Remember him?
No. What's the guy's name again? I mean, if I see the name, because it was called different in all these.
I think it was called Ghosts and Goblins. You ran around this knight who was like in his diaper looking thing, and then you had to get your armor back, and then if you got hit, your armor would come back off, and so you'd be a naked knight, and he had this big old handlebar mustache.
There you go.
It was a dope game. It was dope, I'm telling you.
That tells you how long we've come along, right?
Yeah, you got one hit, or you got 3 hits, right? Well, 2 hits really. You knock the armor off, naked, and then you're dead. If you didn't get your armor back.
I'm actually loving this conversation, but I think we should probably talk more about your game.
Let's talk about his game.
Sure, if you want to. I appreciate it. That's cool.
Let's do the game talkie. Let's show the video, eh?
Yeah, let's watch the trailer before that. I actually love the art. You got a lot of questions.
Art's not bad. Art is not bad. Heard? I dig that. Said not today. Oh, that's super cool. Wow.
There you go, Zach.
Yeah, wow.
It's a little dramatic.
Well, I think the game is going to be dramatic when you play it, it seems like.
I mean, yeah.
A lot.
Anytime you run on screen and a blonde shoots you in the chest, you know
Yeah, exactly.
There's gonna be some drama.
Exactly, it's gonna be some drama.
Just like, what's up, Gaga? I was using my heart. No, that hurts.
It's not expected, but yeah, it's a kind of game. I think like the first trailer has even, they're both very different. But this is the newest trailer that we made. Mostly has a little bit more story and shows you like things that happen. But we're not doing a story trailer yet because there's a lot that we want to do for that. But the first trailer has like some stuff that you could shoot your chakram and it creates portals. So the enemy can shoot beams and it goes through a portal, then it goes through the other portal. It's very wild. So our whole idea is, can we make a Metroidvania that most Metroidvanias have a double jump and a dash, and it's the same kit, which there's nothing wrong with it. But what if the kit was much crazier, much more like the animes that we all love? What does that look like? And that's kind of what we made. So we're coming with these ideas of what if you cut the world in half and that's how you platform, or what if you like create rifts in space and that's how you moving platforms around, and a little bit of going kind of wild with the ideas of movement, and then using both in combat and in platforming. So yeah, it's been going really well. We've gotten lucky enough that and since we announced the game, we've gotten a lot of traction. So we're closing in on 100,000 wishlist soon, hopefully, and that's like a huge like, I can't even explain how much that's like way too much for the amount of marketing we could do, which is mostly just posting on socials. So yeah, we're very happy with it, and hopefully it'll keep going in this trajectory for a while.
Do you have somebody who's doing that marketing for you? That's their soul, or are you guys doing that yourself?
So I had a guy at the beginning that was only doing like an hour a day, but then because the game was doing so well, he got hired by a really big company. So then I ended up doing it on my own. So I'm posting.
Oh, they're like, "Hey, you're doing a fire job. We're stealing you." And he's like, "See you later, boss."
I'm sorry, I got a full-time job now.
Yeah,
but, I mean, you can't hate on him,
Yeah,
no, at all. Like, I mean, I love the guy.
You gave him an opportunity, so.
No, and I know I love the guy, and I'm so happy that media is difficult, and I'm very, very happy that a full-time job in this space is crazy difficult to find. So I'm incredibly happy for him. There's of course a little bit of like the next steps after that. So you can see it on. I'm happy to show you guys, but in my Steam chart, the day that he got hired and he went to his next job, then I had to take over the social media, right? And all I could do is post on one social because I don't know. I just don't use social as much. So I only know one. And I started making posts there. And I think like my first post, because whenever you hire someone to do it, they're gonna do great. But whenever the developers step in and they say like, guys, this is the truth, this is what's going on, there's something that could go really well or really wrong. I think our first post there was like 4.3 million views. Like, and from there, we've been doing really well. But
the one you made did that good?
Yeah. So after I took over, because I talk, I'm an ex-military guy. I say things in a very direct way. I mean, not in a disrespectful way, but if this whole AI stuff comes out, I say something about it, and then people really like it. But I try not to like make it confrontational. But people really like devs that show up, and they they're not trying. I'm not trying. If you look at our socials, you won't see drama or anything like that, but you do see like we do say, hey, we're making a pledge, we're going to make the game ourselves with our hands. It doesn't matter if you love AI or hate AI, we are telling you we're going to do it with our hands. And if you like that, awesome. And if you don't like that, then the game's still for you, because you're saying you like the technology, but we're making it without it, and it is what it is. And people really like that. That resonates with people.
So no feet, just hands.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. You never know. There might be some feet. But no,
I don't know if somebody's just a foot typer. They're like,
yeah, you never know. You never know. No, for now, I mean, just the whole thing of like creativity and the care. I think we're too focused on the art, and of course, I'm making a really fun game. Because I think, like I told you at the mix, our core goal right now is to make the most fun combat we can make.
Oh yeah.
So that if you're jumping around and fighting stuff, you're feeling really, really good, because that's what 70% of the game. So Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a Metroidvania, and if it's
Right.
built on combat, you're not going to be like, let's make it sluggish. Let's just make it super hard to want to do, right? Or joy.
Yeah.
I have a question. Oh, sorry, George.
No, wait, go
I
ahead.
step on you. With the
With your feet.
or one thing, actually, the comment I was going to make a comment is one thing I think a lot of people enjoy, and you kind of touched on it, is when devs get involved. Because I know there's a kid that he emailed me and wanted me to do a review of his game, and it was okay-ish. It definitely was his first project, and he said that, and I couldn't really give it much of a review, but I did a Q&A for him, like I told you the other game, and that game is like pretty low tier, right? But it got actually way more views than I thought it would on YouTube. But the thing I put in the title was I played this indie game and I talked to the dev, and this is a Q&A. I think people love hearing from the people who make the games.
They do. It's but I will tell you this: a secret to leverage. I'm not pretending that I know better or worse. I've just gotten really lucky, is the truth. But something that I know works for a fact is when you show up to things like this, like just be really honest, but be careful. Like talking bad about the industry or talking bad about other indies or all that stuff that gets a lot of clicks. It's just like immediate reward for very little value. People really care about you as a person more than you think. You don't want it to get parasocial, but you want to be really honest and transparent. Like, for example, we do this. We have this series in our Discord. We do these posts that we do bi-weekly. Most of the time it's bi-weekly. Sometimes it's slower. But we do these things called DAUs. So they're called like Devs Ask You. So we make a big post and we have a forum structure. And we just tell people, hey, the spear needs change. Here's what we're thinking. Or we're making this huge change to the spear. And we show the prototype. We show what we're doing. We show the sprite. We show everything. As much as Discord lets us type, we just write it all in there. We post it. And people can choose to be in that role. So it's like a feedback role. And then we send it out. And we put a poll. It was like, did you like version A, version B, version C? And then literally sit here and tell us why. And I've had people in that. I've made up to now 102 of these, I think, 101, 102 of these in 10 months. That's an insane amount of updates for a game. Like, I don't think there's another game that I know that has that many in their life cycle. We're doing this twice a week. But what you get from that is if you're truly transparent to people and you're not trying to sell them anything and you're just telling them, hey, I have a problem with the damn spear. It's not fun. Help me make it fun. People are going to show up and you're not going to really believe it. Like, we've done stuff that has to do with like backgrounds. And then some guy shows up. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm an architect. These pillars are not like, they don't have the right depth. Let me show you how to do it. I'm like, what the hell? But that saves you months of dev because you'll have to go learn those skills. But you have an architect in your community that because you gave them the space to talk, they show up and they go like, yeah, I could tell you because I want to be a dev, but I can't. I have a job. But if you let me be part of your journey, then yeah, I would love to help as long as you listen to them. If you get really defensive and you start like saying, no, but I'm going to make a game for me and hopefully there's more me's out there for it. That's the current belief of the industry in general, I think. I think the way I think about it is don't make a game for you or don't make a game for them. Make a game for your best friend. That's like, I say that to everybody. Because if you make a game for your best friend, you don't really want to let them down, but you also know that they understand that you're making your first game, right? So there's a mixture of both that's going to bleed into it. But if you're making a game for you, you're probably going to be a little bit too, you're going to scope creep a lot. You're gonna make something wilder and bigger because you want all these things. But if you make it for them, you probably lose all your agency. Like you start thinking, oh, if I like the color blue and the community likes red, then red it has to be. That's not good either. You have to find a medium, right? And say, what about purple?
Purple.
Oh, that's cool. And that's really the dream, to do it with, we don't call it community-led because that's completely wrong. But we also are not saying, we're making the game, you shut up, here's the game, eat it. We're calling it community synced, which I don't think is a good term, but we just say, here's what we're doing, do you guys like it? And then some people say,
game sandwich.
Yeah, some people say this is great, and some people say, I don't quite like it, and here's why. But because people are telling you why, you learn so quickly, man. You learn so quickly, and you can get months of dev in a week because you
That's
don't
dope.
end up with those problems. So yeah, my suggestion to indie devs is talk to your community all the time, as much as you can.
I've even given a keynote speak, a session about this. The community as an indie dev, the community that you create, especially like on Discord or social, like other social platforms, it's a little bit more difficult because Discord is more like a direct chatting, and you can kind of get the feedback easier and faster. So whatever the Discord channel that you have, those people that you create the community with are gonna be your biggest fans, loyal fans, and they're gonna be your play testers if you start listening to them and giving them, providing them the honest process that you're doing, all the things that you're doing, and then giving asking for any feedback, suggestions. Then these people will actually basically will be the developers and the people that actually create the game with you. It's basically that's like the biggest and best experience that you can get as an indie dev too, especially because for AAA studios it's a little bit more difficult because there's so many different people that are involved in that already, and you can't listen to every single suggestions or feedbacks from the community or whatever Discord with hundreds of thousands of people that are joined there anyways. But if you're an indie dev, maybe start with 10 or 20 or even 30 people that you start with, and then more people will start joining the Discord channel because you are so honest about it, and those people that are there already want to share it with their friends too. I think it's biggest privilege in a way, and also the best thing you can actually get from even if your game fails the first time, those people will stick around and cheer up and support your next game if you actually decide to do a next game.
100%
for sure. But I mean, it's so sorry, in the setup here, you that are above me, what's your name? Sorry, I'm writing them down. Anthony, pleasure to meet you. So Anthony has you have all these plushies on your right? I can see them there. The dream should always be, how can I get Anthony to have
buy my plushie
that memorable? Let's imagine you get a plushie, Anthony. I'll send you one when we make them, right? So Anthony has a plushie. But you know that the difference between a normal plushie and Anthony having a plushie is Anthony would say he'll grab the Kirby plushie that he has there and show. Or I think that's a
no, that's a Jigglypuff, isn't it?
Jigglypuff, yeah. So he has Jigglypuff, and he shows it to me. He's like, "Oh, this is a game that I really love." He puts it down. I love
Kirby.
But then he might pick another plushie, and it might be little Zura, our main character. And he might say, "This is a game I helped make." That's you will never, ever drop. That will be the plushie that we always pick. That's what a kingslayer is to my mind. When you're thinking about your community, you want them to have this feeling of connection to the game that you can give them if you listen to them. You'd lose nothing. You can right now in our Discord we have 700 people. That's not that much, but it's a lot to get feedback from. And sometimes we're pinging 600 people to do feedback, and sometimes we get 500 comments. But I answered every person. If I don't have the time to make a DAU, I don't do it. But when I do, I set the night and I say the rest of tonight, all I'm doing is talking to human beings. And they could tell you that I saw your plushie there. So imagine you have that moment where somebody walks into your house and they see something and they go "Oh, that's so cool. What is that?" The distance between you say, "Oh, that's just a game I like," versus "Oh, that's your memory is going to trigger this moment where you suggest." Well, this happened, by the way, in this trailer that you guys saw. There's a moment in the middle where our main character jumps over another a sniper with a spear vault. So she uses the spear to fling over them. That didn't exist in our game. It was not planned. It was not part of the character controller. We were not going to do that. We had this idea of doing dash cancel. So whenever you dash, you press a button, and then Zura will do something because it's fun to do that. And dashing and I don't know. Let's say in the Mega Man game, you dash, you can shoot while you're dashing, right? We can't do that because we have a melee weapon. So we said, what if you press a button while you're dashing, something happens? The spear. When you used to dash, you would press the spear button. She would throw a spear forward and do a roll. Versus the rest of the epicness of the game, that felt kind of that's really not cool compared to all the cool stuff. With the axe, you do this big drop, and with the shield, you do some of the cool stuff. So how can we make it cool? And somebody said "Oh, why don't you use it to vault, to jump over?" And the that post in one of our, I don't remember, I don't know how many comments it has, but it blew up. And everybody's saying, yeah, we need to do that. That'd be awesome. Let's do it. I go to my developers. We have meetings every Wednesday. And I remember that conversation like yesterday. It's like, hey, I want to do this. And we were like, we can't do that. We need to like track the enemy. We need to like create, the physics of jumping. What if the ceiling is too low? What if this? What if that or the other? And we suffered through that. But at the end of it, we had the spear vault. And when we show it to the community a month or two later, I don't remember, the feeling of connection, the feeling of like them saying, we made this, like we did this thing, and it's here forever. If you saw it now in our current build, you wouldn't believe, like it looks nothing like the mix anymore. It's widely spectacular because we triple down into it and say, well, people love it, not because people love it, we're going to do it, but because people are saying, this is something you should at least consider. We really, really like it, categorically like it. Then we can go back and say, well, do we hate it? We don't hate it. We just think it's very difficult to do. But what if it wasn't difficult to do? Yeah. What if it's not difficult to do? What if we can figure it out? The same thing we did with the wall cut, right? The wall cut as a mechanic doesn't exist anywhere else. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, there's a couple of other games in the past, like, for example, Metal Gear Solid Revengeance does this to enemies. You can cut them in half, and you can cut boxes in half or whatnot. We're cutting the entire world in two.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
But that required a conversation with our devs to say, hey, what if we cut the world in half? And the first thing is like, we can't do that. Like, but what if we could? Come on, like, what if we could? And then 2 days later, literally 2 days later, we had the wall cut. So anyway, my point with all of this is community is really valuable if you listen, but you can't also get so absorbed that you only do what they say. You just gotta learn how to interpret their feedback, and like I said, like this whole analogy of the plushie, that should always be the goal. If I'm trying to give you a core memory, is the solution you're providing the right solution, or should we talk about the problem that the spear vault cancel is boring? Not that you need the spear vault. The spear vault cancel is boring. What we realized is it wasn't the spear vault, the spear cancel. It was that they really wanted the vault. Okay, so let's focus on the vault and what makes the vault cool. Makes the spear cinematic, makes the spear really fast, it makes it enjoyable. Okay, well, can we do that? And is that the best implementation? And once we went through all the ideas, we said, yes, that's the best one. And here we are. So, it's a lot more than just people are going to say something, then you're going to listen to them and say yes or no. It's understanding the problem. Like, why do they really hate flying enemies in some of these Metroidvanias? Why do they hate them so much? Like,
we know why. We know why.
Well, I am still trying to discover that, Zach. So if you know the answer, teach me the ways.
Because you're trying to murder stuff, and you're just like, come down. Why are you up there? Like,
or that you have bad aim.
Yeah, I'm definitely that guy. 100%.
I think something that we learned. I don't want to completely change the topic, but exactly to that point, we had this conversation with our community, and people said everything that you guys said in many different ways. And what we inferred is it reminds you that you're playing a game. It reminds you that you're playing a game because you have to aim, because you worry about like, oh, they're going away, and you can tell they're programming. You can tell that there's a circle around you that they need to be away from. So every time you jump, they move away. So they remind you're playing a game, even though that's a very small way of talking about the problem. It's the real problem, right? Like it's not fun to have 3 things flying around you. You're like, oh my God, I have to wait for my cooldown of my spear. And I have to, whereas a normal enemy, you're like parry, dodge, go through them, axe them, and then jump around, and then they parry you. And you don't remember you're playing a game. But I don't know, there's an enemy that's like, have patience, wait for me, let me do my thing. You're like, oh man, that's not fun. So yeah, if you interpret people to the benefit of the game, you're making a game for your best friend, not for you or not for them. You end up with something spectacular. At least that's my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the thing with anything too, is when you're having that community behind you, you're going to do, because word of mouth, right? A lot of people are going to hype you up. It's going to be a lot better than if you have several social media posts coming out besides just one person. A bunch of people are doing it. So
it's a good thing. It's difficult to control because, I mean, and it's not like we should control it, but it's difficult to to follow because I'm the kind of like this is a story that nobody believes me, but it is factually true. The day that we announced our game, May 25th, it was the OTK Summer Expo, which now is changing their name to Wishlist. They're great. They do a lot of stuff. They have like free spots for indies. They have a handful, and we got one, and it was great. They were awesome to us. We did not have anything put together when we applied to that. We didn't have a trailer. We didn't have anything. We just had we started programming January of last year. So we've been programming for about 14 months only. Everything you saw in the trailer is real. I mean, there's some of that, of course, enemies don't stand still for us to throw a shield to. So that's like a little bit orchestrated. But everything is real. Everything is an engine. So, but we didn't have a fraction of this. When I meet with the executive producer, and I tell her like, "Hey, I don't have anything, but this game is looking really pretty. Like we're doing a very, very good job with what we have. Do we have a chance?" And I remember she telling me like, this what you have, which was only like a little bit of gameplay that I was able to show her. Like, this is gorgeous. You need to have a trailer in 2.5 weeks. If you can do that, then we could talk. And we did in 2.5
trailer
weeks,
right now.
Yeah, that's our first trailer, which is wild to remember. But I remember the meeting when we talked to the team after we finished the trailer. I told the team we made the store page for the expo, and I told them, guys, I feel really good about this. We might get 1,000 wish lists, maybe 2,000. It'd be great if we get 2,000 wish lists. It'd be really good. I think we walked out of the first 3 days with 25,000, and it kept going. But that first day, for 15 hours, it was nonstop. Thankfully, I had a laptop keyboard around me, but I have my normal computer and I had another keyboard. The only thing I did for 15 hours straight was type. I talked to every human everywhere on Earth that wrote in any of the videos that were made for Shade Protocol for 15 hours straight until I broke a keyboard, and then I said, you know what, I gotta go to sleep. I haven't slept for days. But I went to every video I've made in every language, and if you go through what happened between March 26th, 25th, and 27th, every human in the world got an answer from me. Doesn't matter what you said, even if it was negative. Most of it was positive, right? That
most
probably was the game changer for us, because there were people reaching out to me and saying like, why are you replying to people with ChatGPT? How can you possibly answer every human with a different human response of, yes, I wrote to every person something different as much as I could, right?
I can't believe that.
And yeah, it was unbelievable for me and for them, but yeah, it was probably part of the reason why we did so well. And I recommend it to everybody, even though I hope I never have to do it again. But yeah, it was great.
Like, never again.
Yeah, we'll have to probably, but it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was good. It was good. I mean, we got to talk to, I don't know, thousands of people in that day, and most of them are with us still today. So those are the people, to your point, Zach, that have been like deep evangelists of the game, because that first day they got a response from the game director, and not because my title is important, but because they don't expect it. They don't expect someone to talk to them like a human and say, oh, somebody said on your first trailer, it's like, hey, it's very cool, but I only see you fighting one enemy at a time. Like, you know what? Yeah. We didn't notice that. That's a good point.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
We didn't notice. Like, we just made scenes that we wanted the camera to focus. We didn't think about that. That's a really good point. I'm going to think about that for the next trailer. And they haven't left our community since. But it's just a minor moment of humanity. That's what I mean by the plushie, right? He will never forget that. That person will never forget that they categorically changed the course of our game, because next time when we made the trailer, I wrote and I tagged them and said, hey, by the way, here's scenes with multiple enemies. Thank you so much, because I wouldn't have thought about it. So yeah, really interesting story for sure.
Oh, that's super cool. Honestly,
15 hours.
Yeah, that was a lot. Like, I think I'd be so grumpy after that. I'd be like,
I don't want to talk to people no more.
Yeah, people are like, hey, how's it going over there? Like, don't talk to me.
Right.
But I always tell this to the indie devs too. Like, you actually have to set like at least like a 30 minutes to an hour to dedicate yourself to actually answering the community or doing social posts, because you can't. You need to do that consistently versus like, oh, I'll just do like a one social post, or oh, I'll just answer this one question, or whenever I feel like it, or whenever it's like on the weekend, or I have like 1 hour left or free time or something. You actually have to dedicate some amount of hours every single day to answer these questions, answer these suggestions, feedbacks, and also do some kind of social mingling, even if you hate it, as a indie dev and studio.
Especially if you don't hire somebody for it.
Like if you have someone actually that does it for you, then that's great. Like, he'll do it for you, or he or she will do it for you. But if you don't,
I mean, that's a. Go ahead.
But I think it would be more special. I know you probably can't do it. I mean, a dev probably can't do it all the time, right? Because you got to build the game,
right?
Like if you're typing all the time, the game's never going to get done. But I think it's more special. I could see if I was like wrote to you and I'm like, bro, this game is fire. Like, I love it. I can't wait for it comes out. And then you get an actual reply from the dev. That's got to mean a lot. You know what I mean?
A lot. And then
a lot more than, hi, I'm Steve, the content manager here, and I would like to thank you for writing to the dev. He says he's too busy.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, we probably like our goal with the next iteration of this, because like I said, if you look at the Steam chart, it looks like it just went like vertically up after I took over the media. But it's not. It's mostly because of the tone. It has nothing to do with the content. Like content, I mean, some of the content is like, I did put like the video of the wall cut was like, oh, what is it? Tell me like, tell me like the gimmick of your game in 5 words. And I was like, we cut the world in half or something like that. And then we put a video from our like test build. It had like ugly UI. Like it was just, literally we recorded that day. I said, here it is. And, 4 million views later and like 5,000 wish lists in like a week, you come to realize people really like seeing the human side of development. They don't want it to be dramatic. They don't want like to hear like, oh, I'm struggling to make the shader. That's not the point, right? But they want to know that there's someone behind it that is making something for them and is constantly reaching out and say like, hey, it's not like I need you to like tell me that you love this or hate this. I just want you to know that I'm still making the game. I'm making the game and I'm here, and you don't have to come here every day and check up on us, but whenever you do, we'll be here. That sense of like connection to a community, people love that more than they like to admit, because we don't have that day to day with the big games that we love. Right. If you go right now and you see like we were talking earlier about one of the AAA games that released recently, right? The way that people think that they can be heard is by negative reviews. That's the way they think they can be heard. Like I can't think like someone's going to say, oh, this huge AAA game just came out. Let me join their Discord to tell them about my gripe.
That's not going to happen. Please, what is it? The ticket? You have to get the ticket, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You feel like you're going to a doctor's office, and you're making a turn, you're making a line. But if you build that idea of like, hey, we're here, come to our Discord, talk to us. We do changes, but it's not like we don't tell people. This is a big thing. We don't tell people, if you tell me a problem, that doesn't mean I can solve it, right? But that means I am going to listen to you. I'm going to tell you where I am with that problem. Some things we cannot fix. Like I've had people tell me, oh, can we have like multiple characters? I'm like, Zura, our main character, has more than 2,000 frames of hand-drawn animation. That's more than most indie games ever made. I can't make another one. I can't afford it, right? So, but we do have an idea. Maybe doing something special, like a secret thing, but it doesn't matter. I spoil things too easy. But the point is that, we cannot take that feedback and say, yes, I'm going to deliver this on you and be like a pick me dev, like I call it, right? Like you cannot do that. You have to tell people the truth, right? Very difficult. Chances are we won't be able to do that. But tell me, why do you want to play different characters? And when they tell you, oh, it's just I get really bored of the same play style. It's like, okay, that's a problem I can solve. Let's talk about builds. Let's talk about like, you see, so sometimes listening to someone that's upset is the best call, because they're going to tell you about a problem that they can't easily articulate, not because they don't have the ability to, it's because they're not making the game. So they only know what they perceive, right? They're on the other side. But anyway, I mean, it's been great for us. I think like our biggest weapon right now is our community, because they're so in love with the game that they will criticize the divine shit out of it if they need to in order to make it better. So when we release something, it was like, oh, this is the coolest thing we ever made. They go say, not so much. Or the other way around.
I mean, it's cool, but is it really that cool?
Yeah. And I take it very personal. I'm not gonna pretend like, it's difficult. It's when people tell you they don't like something you put a lot of work in. It takes a special skill to. It's coming back to mind. I'm telling you, I don't remember every feature we ever made, but I have a document that is like my shame document that has every single thing we've ever cut of the game in a list in order. I remember every single one of those things that we've cut out of the game, and it hurts me to no end. It's like this document really pains me. But one of them came from the community. We made this huge system called Melodies, and we were so in love with it. And people said, no, we don't like this at all. And we had to cut it out because it wasn't like a little bit. It wasn't like, oh, well, people don't know what they like, or do you guys have phones? It wasn't none of that. It was like, it was really like, they're like, we hate this. We really don't like this. And when we thought about it, it's like, oh, they're right. It damages the gameplay loop more than we think. And, we didn't think about this and that and the other. Lesson learned. But yeah, I took 2 days off after that. I said I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm really butthurt about this, but it was the right call for sure.
I mean, yeah.
So my question, I mean, just a little bit off topic, but like, how big is the team?
Oh yeah, great question. So there's 5 plus me, and that's how I like to say it. So it's 6, but I'd say 5 plus me because I am their internet dad. I pretty much don't. I do all the. So I'm the game director, and I do all the. So all the game design comes from me. So all the ideas of what we're making come from me. Mm-hmm. But my team is getting more and more proficient at understanding like the things that the community finds cool. So now they're doing a little bit of game design too, which is something that programmers love to do. It's really fun, right? But like the wall cut and everything that you could think that's a little insane probably came from me, because my team would probably say we shouldn't do that. That's too wild. But then we give it a week or two, and I don't know where we find a way to do it. So I'm the game director, I'm the game designer, but I barely program. Not because I don't have the skill, but I could do shaders, I could do minor things, but it's not worth it. The amount of time that I put into the community is a lot more beneficial. And then I have 2 programmers. I have we have 2 programmers, a composer, a animator, and a background artist. Okay. So our animators cracked. Like we had 2. We're moving from that. Hopefully in the future, very soon we'll be able to hire more. But mostly they're all contractors, so no one's here full time. Everything you see, we've made it in 14 months. Part-time. So very proud of our speed. We're going really fast. But yeah, because we're focusing on the stuff that we know people are going to like, and they're going to, it's going to connect them to the game. But yeah, the team is very small. We want to grow it for sure. So we are doing a Kickstarter hopefully very soon, the next couple of months here, to try to grow that team so that we can get more programmers and, artists and whatnot to speed up our development. But yeah, we don't think we probably will never grow beyond 10. Not because we wouldn't want to, but because it probably is unsustainable. Like, we're trying to make a game, probably in the next 2 years before that, as fast as we can.
Mm-hmm. Good idea. Because I think for indie game or indie studios, like a good number is about 10 to 20. Mm-hmm. Like somewhere there, like don't go too many, like hiring too many people and then like can't sustain the team and like have to kind of let go of some people.
Yeah, the moment that you need a manager to manage people to tell you what they're doing, then you've lost some magic, right? We don't need any of that. Like we have meetings every Wednesday. People show up. They show up. People do work daily, so people show up. That's something that I'm very strong at because I come from Fortune 100 companies, so I have this experience of like huge teams. And then I'm coming to this very, very tiny team that, it's more artistic. we don't have the same discipline, right? We work pretty like at whatever time of the day. But what we definitely do is that we do daily output. That's like a golden rule. So if you're making something, you're showing it daily to the team in some channel that we made in our internal Discord, and people get to give feedback on it or whatnot. But it's like us, just a tiny little group, and it helps a lot. That's the right way. So work at whatever time you want of the day. We don't care, but show your work every day. Show us what you're making. Even if you're drawing something and you only got the initial sketch, show the sketch. As long as you're constantly doing that, it helps with marketing too, like what Zach was saying, because those things do really well. You could easily take a sketch and show it to the internet, and people are going to love it.
Yeah, they get excited.
So, yeah, they get excited about things like that. So
just the littlest things, they're like.
So it helps with the story of making the game, but it also helps with me keeping track of all the work that's happening. And sometimes you would be surprised how you can have a meeting with someone for 3 hours and say it's going to be purple, right? This thing is going to be purple. Yes, it's going to be purple. It's going to be the best purple you've ever seen. And then when the thing comes out, it's red. You're like, that's not purple. We talked about it for 3 hours. What's up? So it's very common because we have so many things going on. But if you have a team that's constantly showing output, you can catch little things like that early, or even like shut down ideas. Say, oh, I'm now realizing because you did a little bit of work on this, that is probably the wrong choice. What do you think? Like, and then we have those combos and we change pretty quickly. So yeah, it's great, and people love seeing it. Seeing the live construction of it. We don't show everything because it's a lot, but we show a lot. We show more than most, I would say.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story itself behind A Shaded Protocol? Sure. I don't think we've talked about this.
For sure. This is where it gets a little wild, because if you look at our game, you're thinking this is like hard rock Mega Man with an axe, like you're just running around like killing Wily's theme in the back of your head. You're like smash, smash, smash. Well, our game is pretty. I wouldn't say emotional. That's not the right word. But the story is pretty intense, I would say. I call it like it's a Mega Man for grown-ups. It's the way I think about it.
Okay.
And it's really our biggest community, right? Like people look at our game and say, "Oh, that's Mega Man Zero," because it looks like it has that vibe, right? So those people played that game 10, 20 years ago. And they're adults now, like you said before, with kids, right? They've grown up. They want to play a game like that is still pixel art, that is still high quality, but it's modern. And they don't want a story that's like, oh, the princess is in another castle. Like they want something a little bit more to the level of it that they have today. It's not bad. It's definitely great. I mean, I love that. But they want a little more from the Mega Man vibe that we have. So we made the story the shortest version I could give you. Because I get way too excited about it. But in short, this is a world where in the very, very, very far future, it's not really Earth, but it doesn't matter. It's in the far future. And what happens is humanity discovers this living metal, and they make a bunch of things with it, including like robots. They call them replicas. So they're near humans. They're almost identical to us. They feel, they think, they cry, they suffer. They're almost identical to us. And there's a lot that has to do with that in the story. But what happens is, for reasons that the game will cover, there's something that gets created that is called the Shade Protocol. This is like, imagine like a virus, but it's really more of an instruction. It's a set of instructions. And this thing, this universe that we're playing on, all of it is code. So you're not playing it like a world like ours. So imagine you could break the sky, you'd see code behind it. It's kind of like this world is not a simulation, but it's all code. So this thing called the Shade Protocol infects the universe, and it has only one instruction, which is literally says eradicate humanity. It's its only goal. So whenever you start the game, there's almost no humans left. But when you look at the game, it's like we call it like Mega Man meets Blasphemous, but it's the actual opposite in terms of vibes. So in the world of Blasphemous, if you played it, the world is like destroyed and like apocalyptic. Like it's very beautiful, right? But it's like religiously chaotic and all that stuff. Our game intends to be incredibly beautiful because it's a world where humans were here and they made all these wonderful things, but now they're no longer here. And this is what they left to their creations. So there's this big problem with the replicas. So some of them believe, like, without our creators, there's no one to observe the universe. Everything should end. Everything should come to an end. Like, we don't deserve this is not like this wasn't made for us. And then there's other ones, which is you, the ones that think like, this is the world they left behind, and we should honor it and live it and be part of it. But the interesting tone is that when you and I might think about code, if you were a computer, would you really think about code as code? I don't think you would. You would think about it as like your blood, right? Like or whatever. Like this is a part of you. It's like this is your thought stream, whatever. So the way we represent that in the game is by music. So these replicas hear the code of the universe like music. It's all musical. So the game is very, very, very musical, and all the weapons that you saw, they're all instruments. So the spear is a flute.
Oh,
the
really?
guitar, the axe is a guitar. Yeah, the katana, which she uses to cut the world. If you see the animation in the trailer, you'll see she's playing the violin. So it's a violin, and she plays the violin and cuts the world in half. So you're using music to alter the code of the world, and that's the entire game, right? These instruments are like incredible. Imagine they're like paintbrushes that can repaint the world, right? But they are musical instruments that just alter the world, and it's wild what you could do with that theme. So yeah, that's me saying I'm going to say it quickly, but in short, you have a beautiful world where humanity is almost not here anymore, and their creations are taking over the world, and they kind of don't know how to be human. So they're having similar problems that you and I might have, but they don't know how to be us, right? So they might feel different, like they might act different, they might be more extreme than us, or they might be less empathetic than us. There's so many interesting themes there about our creations taking over the world, but all they have of us is the songs we left behind. So they're learning through our art, the things that we left behind that tell them how to be humans. They don't know. So I think it's gonna be great. I think people are gonna have a good time with it. But yeah, it's a lot of themes about like, what if if for a moment you met every single one of us met our parents, right? When they're not here, I'm sure. I mean, I haven't met my parents yet, but it's coming, right? Yeah. Oh, you're right. But if you have met your parents, that wasn't sensitive. You're right. If you have,
I'm just messing with you.
You probably have some connection to like the people that have loved you unconditionally. What if that, like, every time we have this story of robots, it's always they hate us, like, they're gonna eradicate us, they're evil. Yeah. But what if they loved us, and what if we love them like our children, like we made them, they are our greatest creation, and now for reasons beyond us we are no longer here? Like, what would be our parting wish? To leave the world to them, or to end it all so that they don't suffer it, because we know the suffering of like being alive? What would that look like? It's a big topic, and it has a lot to do with family. It has a lot to do with like why do humans want more than just to exist? There's a couple of topics, but we've made a big vow. There's nothing political in the game. There's no world themes of this world. We're not doing anything of this world. It's like an entire different problem set over there. But it does have like good themes about the value of family and the value of like humanity as us, right? It's a love letter to humanity. Humanity is awesome. That's kind of what the game's about. It's very difficult to put it together because the story
deep.
does have, yeah, it's pretty deep.
I love that. A love letter to humanity.
Yeah. It won't feel that dense though, because we do have a big thing about very, very short dialogue. We don't think like,
thank God.
Machines.
Oh my God.
If you make machines, right, and these machines are strategically better than humans, do they really not know how to convey themselves in a way that is clear and concise? So I think they'll do better than me. They won't yap as much as me. That's kind of the hope. So yeah, dialogue is probably in sets of 3s or 5s. So that means like you say a blurb, I say a blurb, you say a blurb, conversation's over, or 5 instead of 3. So our goal is like 3s or 5s always.
Okay.
I love that. You know how many games I played and I'm so excited for, and I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah.
I don't know
what. Can I just fight something now? I don't care anymore. The story just.
I've been calling that self-importance. I don't know a better word for it, but I think there's a lot of games that really think, oh, my story's so good, you're gonna love it. So here's a no skip entire, 12-minute enjoy it, right?
That's true.
You're gonna love this if you just give it a chance. Well, you're not giving me a choice. But we think we should be able to tell the story of the game just by playing the game. Like there's enough like if you see our trailer,
I like this guy.
You'll see like we have like this is very difficult for people to see, but in the second trailer it starts with this huge robot. That's the first biome. You're inside a colossal, ginormous robot. That's your first biome. But there's parts of that robot that are broken. You see holes to the outside. There's a war outside, and you see robots fighting outside. So you get this beautiful sense of like, this robot's alive, and it wants to stay alive, so it's gonna defend itself. And it's all happening without a single line of dialogue. Like you're just seeing the chaos happen, and this robot's starting to stand up and say, you guys are gonna find out if you keep shooting at me. We're gonna have problems. So. I hope that we can get that done well, and I think we can. I think the more we think about it, the more interactive ways we have to not have to do a ton of dialogue. So yeah, we put a lot of energy into that. We don't want to. Also, we have 3 core pillars in our studio. I'm not going to bore you with that, but the first one is let the player play. So that means if we can make a game where you never have to pause the game, that's our dream come true. We know that that's impossible for our type of game, so we do have pause menus or whatnot. But that means like if you're going into some place, like maybe you can make choices by attacking versus having a menu. Like, can we make the game you're always in control of the character as much as possible? So I'm hoping for a 95% of the game you're in control of the character. That's my dream. So if I can make a menu that you don't have to pause the game, that means I can make dialogue where you don't have to pause the game. That's the dream. Maybe you walk to someone, they start talking to you, you walk away, and they're like, dude, what's going on? I was talking to you. I don't know. It'd be cool to be able to do that, but I'm sure.
I like games like that. I've actually played a game like that. There's like, well, then you walk away, and they're like, bro, I was talking to you. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Who knows?
Too long, bro.
Yeah. But no, I know that a story should not be primary. So it should be. I have this very simple theme of you have features, you have fun, and you have fantasy. Those are the 3 things in a game. For me, people think that fun should be first. Those are the worst games you've ever played, because when you put fun first as the core design goal, most of the time you are making something that is gonna miss fun because you're engineering fun. Fun should be an outcome of something else. This is my belief. I might be wrong, right? So even like friend slop games, they're focused on the fantasy, right? They're saying, oh, we're climbing a mountain. This is peak. Go have fun, right? So the fantasy of climbing the mountain has to stay. If you lose the fantasy of climbing, then you don't have as much fun, right? Even though if you might not be climbing, right? It's really not that important, but the fantasy needs to be there all the time. So I believe fantasy should come first, then features, then fun. But the top 2 need to create the third, and the third then becomes what the player perceives. The player doesn't really perceive the fantasy all the time or the features. If you do them right, they should become part of the background. The music of Clair Obscur kind of eats you up, but you're not constantly thinking, oh, let me just pause here and change the track. You're not thinking about anything. It's just happening. So yeah, we are a very fantasy first game. That's why you see all these anime shots and weird stuff like that. And yeah, it's going well. So hopefully we can keep doing that. And if you could keep that going, you don't need a lot of dialogue to convey the fantasy.
I think that's yeah, no, I think that's amazing. I don't think I've ever had a dev say that to us before. That's actually the first time. I was going to say, because you were talking about it a little bit when it came to the, my headphones must have come out because I could hear myself. Is your I always would say when it came to a game, I personally like the action and the story to meet each other to where they have an equal amount. like, yeah, I want some story, but I definitely want action. If I have one more than the other, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I even doing right now?
That's like really, it's and it sounds dumb for me to say it like this, but it's so genius to think about it that way versus one needs to be the core driver of the other. It's much better to say, let's balance them, right? Let's try to balance them.
It is.
But then is it like, what is story? Without getting philosophical, is story dialogue? Because that is not story.
Yeah.
For me, well,
Wow.
actually, let me frame that better. That might be story, but that's not world building. That's not lore. That's not engrossing the player into like this environment that they're in, right? If I showed you guys right now Shape Protocol, and I show you like, if you play Shadow of the Colossus, one of the most spectacular games of its time, because of this idea of the fantasy that this little guy in a horse is going to run towards a colossus and it's going to climb it and kill it, right? This idea of like, you're fighting this huge being. If I tell you that at some point you get to climb up the back of this ginormous robot, right? And you see it walking and you see its arm swinging to the left and right and you see it getting attacked and it's like, screw all of you. I'm just gonna walk forward, and every time I take a step, I'm leveling a mountain. Like that, this feeling of fantasy. There's no dialogue needed. You just got this, like the screen shake can do that, the track can do that, the visuals can do that. And it is definitely more expensive than putting like 7 screens of dialogue, but a player has a higher chance of remembering that for the rest of their life than like, I don't remember. Like if you I loved Expedition 33. It's one of my favorite games of this era. I remember a lot of the dialogue, but mostly because the music behind it, the moment, the beauty of the environment, how the characters like feel like they are talking like humans to one another, and they're going through a problem that it's very hard to understand. If you don't put all those things in there, I couldn't digest all that dialogue in any other game. And people tell me, but you forgive it from Cruel Obscure and you don't forgive it from XYZ other games. Like, because XYZ other game didn't world build like that. And that's what I hope to do with the least amount of dialogue we can. Of course, without leaving the player without knowing the characters. We want them to feel close to them. We're also doing something very minor, which is connected, and I'll shut up about it. But we're doing this thing, which a lot of people know the word, but they don't know what it means. And I didn't know before I started dev, so I don't want to sound superior. The other way around, I just learned this before I started dev. It's called diegetic gameplay. So the idea is, Zura, our character, diegetic means that the player and the character experience the same thing. Like if Zura can see the map, you see the map, and vice versa. That sounds like what always happens, but it's incredibly difficult to do. And we're only doing it because we're challenging ourselves and we want to, but it's probably not realistic to make an entire game like that. A lot of people have done it before, and it's very expensive. But I'll give you an example. In our first trailer, Zura is going up in an elevator, right? And she opens she does some like little taps in her shield, and then she like flings something to the background, and then the map appears. The map appears in the entire background of the level. Technically, she is looking at it. So she is trying to figure out where to go. It just so happens that you're the player and you're controller where she's looking at that map, but she's looking at the map. That means that maybe an enemy, and this is not going to happen, right? We're not going to do this, but maybe an enemy could walk in and they could see the map, right? The idea is like, what if the entire game is everything that she sees, you see? So if I press the pause button, she is seeing everything I'm saying. So this has to be her internal systems. So we have to think about it when you're thinking about like the talent tree. It has to be something that she's editing. Because if I'm editing, then I'm some like godlike being outside of Zura that is playing with her, right? And that not only takes the player away, but it also diminishes the value of the character. The more you do that, whenever you're pressing a switch, it shouldn't be like, press this button and something happens. Characters don't speak like that. No one tells you, hey, if you want to do a double jump, press X twice. Nobody says that, right? But
I say it every day. I just walk by people like, hey, if you want to double jump midair, hit the X button again. They're like, what? I'm like, have a good day.
Yeah. And some people look at that in a video game and they really don't like it. And you might think that's, maybe 10% of the players or less. But it's an important component of world building. So the way we did our tutorial, for example, you start the game, you've been in this, pod for a very, very long time, and you've been experimented hundreds of times. You're a machine, right? And you're being made in order to be hopefully able to modulate the shape protocol. That's the hope, that you were like a dialysis machine kind of thing. This is the hope, but you failed. You start the game knowing you failed, and you're in a pod because you're infected with this thing, and it's already in you from the beginning of the game. You're you're done. Like you already have this thing that it's going to end the world inside of you, so you'll have only so much time. The game's not timed, don't worry about it. But you get this sense already of dread. Like this thing inside you is you're already done. You failed. So what happens is how we did our tutorial, which I thought was genius as an idea from one of our teammates, is you start in this area where your pod is, and when you walk out, the entire tutorial area has screens in the back of the scientists all the scientists that made you, the recordings of all the times you've done this over and over and over and over again, right? So it's the lore of the character, right? But when you're seeing what they're doing. So if you have to jump and dash, you see a computer in the background, like they're studying all the times you've done it, and they show all the times you've done it in many ways. And in the corner of that thing is the input hidden in a corner, but it looks like part of the screen. And it looks like, you jumped and dashed, and that's what you've done this 50 times before. But you just, we extracted all that from you, and you're a new version of you. So it's a different way of telling people the tutorial without saying, "Hey, listen." Like, which is cool for its time. But today, I think we could try to do a little different. Hopefully, it works out. We'll see for sure.
I had that same problem before I go to the bathroom. I have something inside me, and I know it's going to destroy the world. And I'm just like, you got to get it out.
Remember, do you like spend the button X?
I was like, no. No, I didn't want to cut it on. I didn't want to step in on your audio. But when you're like, she landed the pod, and she's got something there that's going to destroy the world, I was thinking, yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah. Yeah, we made it a little bit more painful, but probably it's not. She probably feels similar. She wouldn't be in her. But yeah, we even made it like right now our save points, which I love this idea. The save points are like a imagine the shape protocol once you're infected. It's like a copy of yourself that's constantly trying to manipulate you to like surrender yourself to the will of the protocol. So it's constantly trying to convince you, like, I'll give you power, but you have to submit, like you have to surrender, because it already knows the world's going to end and it knows it's going to win. So it's trying to take control of you, but it's because Zura has a little bit of like ability to resist. That's what she was made for. Then you're having a relationship with it. So your save points are the shape protocol. You meet a character that looks just like you, but like this dark version of you. And it's constantly telling you, like, you're going to fail. I know you're going to fail, but when you go to the boss and you die, the camera goes back to the shape protocol. She snaps her fingers and you get remade. And she's like, you could go and try again as many times as you want to, but the only answer is to surrender. Once you surrender, it'll be over. I'll take away all your pain, but you've already lost. And it's like this story of it's all made so that it makes sense with the character versus like, oh, here's a computer. You press a button and then you save, which was our original take. And we said, how are we going to put a computer in a forest, right? That doesn't make sense. So
wow.
Hopefully we get it right. We'll see if people like it.
It's got fiber. You think, okay, that was bad.
Wow.
Do you know like a rough idea of when the game is going to be released?
Yeah, I wish list you. When am I getting my game?
Real good question. So here's where a lot of people get very passionate, and this is true. A lot of indies don't talk about this, and I understand this from talking to my friends that are in the space. But I'll be honest with you guys. So here's what's happening. The truth is there's 3 versions of the game we could make. That's the truth. We could make a game that is like what we can afford to make. We can make the game we set out to make, or we can make a kingslayer. Those are the 3 things we could do. So we can make what we can afford, which is the smallest version. That would mean we wouldn't get a publisher. We will self-fund. We will do all of it on our own. We'll do it through Kickstarter and all that stuff. That is what our community wants, of course. And publishers right now, just so you guys know, when I went to GDC just this couple of last weeks, I met with over 40-something publishers over there. It was wild, the amount of people that wanted to meet to talk to us. But it's because we have a game that they think they could publish. But it's also very difficult to find a publisher that makes sense with the vibe of our game and with our community. It's very difficult. But the truth is, we couldn't make versions 2 or 3 with our resources. We just couldn't do it. It's just not realistic. I mean, people say, oh, go to Kickstarter, you're going to make a lot of money. I don't believe that. I think like the current economic state of the world is difficult. And I don't want to I don't like asking people to give me anything. I just think if we could accelerate the game a little bit, then yes, we'll do it. But it's not the right way. And there's a lot of people doing scams on this freaking Kickstarter. We don't want to be in that situation. Like people feel like we're selling them a dream. The game is everything that people see is already made. So our idea is to make a demo and show it to people in the Kickstarter. So that's like version number 1, what we can make with what we can afford. The second version is what happened when we announced the game. The expectations of people, of those 15 hours that I was telling you about, I was in cloud 9 because I loved the idea of like people loving our game that much. But I also was in a little bit of a panic attack because you also get a lot of people saying, oh, like this is like, maybe this is like this virtual successor of Mega Man. And, we want this game to do really well. And, people start spreading it and you get this feeling of, oh my God, we didn't really communicate the boundaries of the gameplay. We didn't explain where this ends, right? Because we just did a trailer. And people's imagination is wild. So that the second stage requires a publisher almost for sure. It requires a publisher. And that's a level of investment that is not really incredibly high, but we couldn't do it on our own. Unless like I sell my house or do some crazy stuff that I don't think anyone wants me to do because it'll put everything at risk. Right. But the third is the Kingslayer version, which we are always working like we're gonna make that game. But the truth is like that has like live orchestral music like Final Fantasy, which people really want. It has like all the dream stuff that everybody wants, but we can't afford. So that requires a publisher on the top of the big ones, of the really big ones, right? Out of the 10 largest in the world, we are actively talking to 9 of them. So we do have the interest of the big publishers. Our challenge is like, do we want to do this? Is this our path, right? I know it's going to break a lot of hearts if we do get a publisher, but I just don't. I don't know. I'm heartbroken already because I know that no solution is good, right? If we make the game we can't afford, the expectations of people are way beyond that line already, and I know some people are going to be let down. If we make the other 2, then some people are going to be upset that we get a publisher. But my current path is I'm talking to a handful of publishers that I feel are the right fit for us, that the terms are good, that their vibe is good, that they're also willing to do wild stuff that I'm asking them, like, hey, are you willing to like actually share our contract with the world and show them what we signed? Like, I want to tell people what we agreed to, right? Things like that. We might not do that because there's a lot of risk of like doxing me or other people in the team, but at least they're considering stuff like that is like a little bit further along the lines of like a really ethical publishing deal, which is difficult to find. But that's a super long-winded version of like, we're probably going to be releasing the game sometime 2027 is our current dream. That was our original path all along. Our idea was to bring it to the end of 2026 with Kickstarter. So use the money from Kickstarter to speed development. The problem is we had to delay the Kickstarter a couple times. We never actually announced a date, but we internally had to delay it because we made the decision. First, we cannot release at the end of the year because October, November, December is death for indies. Releasing in that space is AAA space. They're kind of doing all the marketing and eating the entire. I mean, you guys know you do this all the time, so it's very bad for indies at the end of the year.
AAA, boo.
No, they're not bad. They're just
burn the buildings.
At least you won't have to worry about Silk Song.
Yeah, I mean that was a thing for a lot of my friends that I know they were pretty worried about it. I mean, you never know; they could do a DLC right on top of us and murder us. But
they're already doing a DLC, right? They
are.
Something I forget the exact.
But Silk Song is such a good thing in a big scope of things, like in the big scope of things. There are some implications that we have to deal with, right? You after 9 Souls, if you guys played 9 Souls was a $29.99 spectacular game. Like, I think it's one of the best in the genre. For me, it's like my number 1 from a gameplay feel, like it just feels really good. Silksong and Hollow Knight are up there with a couple of other, like they're all of the the top spot, but Nine Souls is just spectacular. That was a $29.99 game of incredibly high production value, from music to art to everything. They had a little bit of voice acting here. That was just great. Yeah, we are like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of that budget. So because of that, we can get close in terms of production, quote unquote, value, but not in terms of budget. It's just not realistic for what we want to do. So I guess where I'm coming from is like when you have Silksong release, $20 game with a lot of content with 60 hours of like the average playtime for people that finish all the content. It's wild.
So, yeah.
We don't know we can deliver that. But I don't think people need us to. I think what people need is a really, really fun gameplay loop. A lot of innovation. They want to see the wall cut, not like just be a gimmick. You can do the wall cut anywhere in the world, by the way. It's not like you have to find yellow paint and here's what you're doing. Like there's a ton, you do it and you press the button whatever you want to. So the more we do that, I think the better we're going to be in comparison to other games that are releasing soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we do well on Kickstarter, we can do version 1, maybe get close to version 2. And if we get a really, really good publisher, we could do 2 or 3. But version 3 is like blasphemous level quality. Probably that's like the dream, to make something that big for like a fifth of their budget. But we'll figure it out. I think we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
If it pushes to 2028, I don't feel I answered your question, but 2027, sometime mid to late, and then if it pushes to 2028, it would be because of like a Silksong of the world or something like that. That respectfully, it's better for us to push ourselves because they're going to get the limelight, and if it's deserved, we want them to have it. Like it's not really an ego thing. Like we don't want to release our game in a point where it will just murder the game after all the work. But February or March of any year is a really good time for indies because you get a Steam Next Fest followed by people already get their money back into their account after getting paid after Christmas. So those are the better times for indies between March and June.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. It's dangerous to be between October and January. Very dangerous for our budget. So hopefully we can dodge that.
These are some good insights for the indie devs. But I think it's kind of time to wrap up things. Do you have anything you want to tell the audience that haven't checked out the game, or the people that are in the community or whatnot?
Well, first of all, thanks to you guys. Like, this has been great. I get to yap like this as often as I appreciate
this kind of yap. We love. I mean, the reason why.
I mean, you did all the work. We just kind of shot a couple questions at you.
I feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad, but yeah.
No, we love it. We love.
I was just eating snacks and listening.
Yeah,
there's never been a podcast where we just like the dev didn't talk at all. That'd be horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what do you think about your game? It's great.
That the developers are here.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
But we appreciate it. We actually there's a lot of things you said that I have not heard before, and it really kind of made you seem super smart for a dev.
Well, the thing, and I'll say this because I don't want to risk leaving here people like maybe thinking that I know more than I do. The truth is, all of this we learned through the pain of like trying. So we really don't. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. And there's a big chance that we're going to mess up at some point. But the things that we're learning, I think we're really happy to share because the next person over, like kind of, Clay Obscure said, like, for those that come after, right? So pretty much that should be the vibe. Like there are people that are coming right after us that are doing all these things that, it's good to consider them and good to know because we were convinced like, oh, we need to release this in Christmas time because, how great would that be, right? No, you don't want to fight. You don't want to do $3 ads during Christmas time. So it's things that you learn just by suffering. So it's not like we know more than the next guy over. We just have dealt with it at speed because of the traction of the game. But to your point, what would I like the community to know? So first, I mean, we really appreciate the support. Never in my life. I mean, I started this because I was in a Fortune 100 company. I got laid off, and I said, I'm going to use the severance to make a game. I have 2 years, and after 2 years, whatever's ready is what I'm going to ship. Because if I don't do this now, I'll never do it in my life, and I want to do this.
I love that.
So that feeling, I felt it was going to be an art project. I mean, it's not like I didn't think it could happen, but I never realistically thought it was going to be a sustainable, it was going to be an indie game. I thought it was going to be an art project. We're going to make something pretty that I'm proud of. I'll get it done in 2 years, and then I'll go back to, corporate America, and, you lose your soul there. And what do you do? But this could be drastically life-changing for us in its current path. Getting close to 100,000 wish list for an indie game of our quality, with $0 in marketing, it's not easy to do. And we're like 500 in the world on Steam right now. It's wild. It's just not something I thought could happen. So I thank you to the community. Is all I want to say. We are. If you want to support us, the best thing you could do is tell people about the game. You don't need to participate in our Kickstarter. You don't need to do anything. Like, if you tell people about our game and, we get one more person that's interested, that just helps us so much. So we appreciate that. And then last thing, like, these guys, like, support them too. Like, there's only a handful of places out there right now that are giving indies a space to kind of talk. I'm not paying to be here. This guy's brought us in like the kindness of their heart because we love what we're doing. That's rare and difficult to find. And send the elevator back down. If we make it, like, hopefully we can help and help you guys do more of what you're doing, because this is where the sauce is made. So thank you so much. And I hope we get to talk again with good news, hopefully one day.
And the sauce is what sets every pizza apart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were able to show the person behind making video game, like the game
which
itself.
is a giant K.
Yeah, exactly.
And also,
Case can do it. You could do it too.
Yeah, that's why we do it. Like, the three of us, we would like to show and kind of hear from the person that is behind the video games. I mean, we can we can watch the trailers, whatever. We can play the game itself, but like, we actually want to hear from the person or the team that's behind the games, so that the community or the fans can kind of even connect more with the game and have a better understanding of all the ideas that were behind creating what they have played. So
we like it. It's fun, and we like indie devs.
And also we
and
learn
you're
a
nice. I wish this did your
I
game.
Who has?
I think. I mean, that one wish list. I assure you, it's a lot. It's a lot more than people think.
I don't know if we asked when it's coming out. Are you going to have a demo? When I didn't know if you. I heard you say something about a demo. Did you say when that?
Yeah. That's a great question. I should have said that too. So real quick, I know we're wrapping up, but
sorry.
Our hope is to get the Kickstarter in the next few months. I have a date in mind. I'm waiting for one final confirmation before I could release that. But we will say that very soon. We'll let you guys know so you can tell people if you want to through your media. But the main thing is it'll be soon. Let's say in the next 2-3 months is our goal to do that. We want to have a playable demo for the Kickstarter because, I mean, you guys know, like, people, Kickstarter scams and all that stuff are rare, but people remember them. And we really want to tell people, hey, we want this money exclusively to do this thing, and we're showing you a game that's already really, like, it's going well. Here it is. Just play it. You'll get the sense that it's real. And then if you want to support us, you can. And if you cannot, no big deal. I think I feel better as a director showing real gameplay than telling people, just trust me, like, we're going to make something cool. So yeah, I mean, you saw a little bit over there, but the current combat demo is wild. Like, it improved by at least one order of magnitude since then. So I'm very, very happy. But yeah,
that's dope.
That's the answer. Hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months, it won't be a Steam playable. I mean, it will be on Steam, sorry, but it will be like Kickstarter only for a little bit. so that we can then
Give them some value for their Kickstarter.
Well, yes, and also really polish that, and hopefully then make another demo that goes to the entire world. That then they get the value they got at first, but also we get to really optimize that experience. We're not going to make the Kickstarters the playtesters. We're going to have that before, but we're I don't know. We're hoping to maybe give the Kickstarters like a little bit different story than the demo. We're not sure if we're going to be able to pull that off, but if we do, that'd be special, right? They'll get their own little thing, and they'll remember that as their. I
think that's awesome.
We'll see if we can do it.
Yeah, I just wanted to know so that I could play it.
Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, guys, let me know for sure. We're gonna send, and to everyone's listening, we are gonna do media keys for sure. We want.
We would love that.
And my fear is if we send like media keys for the playtesting, you're mostly seeing like a really messed up. It's very early and very messy, right? You saw it.
Yeah.
That's I don't want to send that and people start making videos. Oh, this game is all scuffed. Of course it is.
Well, you got to tell them not to do it. You say, don't you do it.
And they will anyway.
I'll break your fingers. That's what I tell people.
They will anyway. Yeah.
But
we'll wait for sure.
But if you're listening or watching, please go wishlist Shade Protocol and go to their Discord. Talk to Kendall, just share feedbacks and suggestions. He says it is sessions. So I'll actually put the Discord channel description as well. So and thank you so much for coming, Kendall, and and good luck.
It was awesome.
We should definitely have you back when closer to release or something, and with more updates and obviously more content. Yes.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. And by then, I think we will have. There's some surprises that I wish this would have happened like a month later, because I have some surprises coming that are pretty wild.
Did George push you? He pushed you, didn't he?
No. This was. I think we waited a long time for this, so I'm very happy.
I actually reached out a long time ago, but then he was.
It's mostly been me. It's not you, it's me.
No, I mean, I was saying George was like, "You got to do it now, huh?" He was like pushing me, stop, not yet.
But in the very near future, I think when we have the playable and we have like some of the bigger things, I would love to come here first because it's one of the first interviews I've done that I actually get to talk about the game. Most other places are like very corporal, like here's the trailer, here's 10 seconds, like this is cool. But also because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say of the things that we're making.
Hear that other podcast? We're cooler than you.
100%.
There are places that have been great, but they're few and far between. Because attention spans are so short, but I really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you so much.
Well, we loved having you on. You were super cool.
We'll continue the conversation on probably Discord or something somewhere. We'll have fun
for sure.
Thank you so much for coming. Bye everyone. Thank you for listening. Check out Shade Protocol. That's all I got to say, and check Zach and Anthony's streams too. They're awesome.
For sure.
And fun.
Who's that? Who's Anthony?
Bye.
George comes to our channel and then do commentary over us. How terrible we are at the game.
I love you guys. I love going to their streams and just like messing with them.